Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, where we tried to make sense of the financial mumbo jumbo so you don't have to. And today we've got some interesting news from LyondellBasell. Get ready because we're diving into their latest earnings report, and let me tell you, it's got a few surprises. Before we start deciphering what LyondellBasell is telling us, if you like getting clear, simple explanations of complex financial documents, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And hey, we've got a growing community discussing these things over on Discord. The link is in the description below, so come join the conversation. Alright, so LyondellBasell Industries NV is a big player in the chemicals industry. They make all sorts of plastics and fuels that are pretty much in everything we use every day. Today we're looking at their Form 8K filing, which is basically a report of big events that happen between their regular quarterly or annual reports. This particular report is from August 1st, 2025, and it's all about their financial performance for the quarter that ended on June 30th, 2025. Think of it as them telling us how they did financially in the spring months. The main reason for this filing is that LyondellBasell announced their earnings results for that quarter. So what we really want to know is how they performed financially, right? Did they make more money, less money? What's the story behind those numbers? Now, to understand their performance, we need to look at the details. LyondellBasell's shares are traded on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol LYB. Trading on the big board like the NYC means they're a pretty significant company on the global stage. The core of this report, the really juicy part for us investors and curious minds, is section item 2.02, which covers the results of operations and financial conditions. This is where they lay out their earnings. LyondellBasell announced their earnings for the quarter ending June 30th, 2025, and also gave us a bit more detail on how different parts of their business, their segments, performed. They've attached their official press release about these results and a separate document that breaks down their performance by business segment. These are our primary sources for understanding the nitty-gritty of their financial health. Think of the press release as the headline news and the segment discussion as the detailed report. Now, financial reports can sometimes be a bit dry, but the real story is in the numbers. While this Form 8K itself doesn't contain the detailed financial tables directly in the main text, it points us to the exhibits where those tables live. These exhibits, specifically 99 to 99, Type 1 and 99.2, contain the actual financial data we need to dissect. We're always looking for what these numbers mean for the company and for us as observers. So what did they announce? They announced their earnings for the period covering April, May, and June of 2025. This is a crucial period for many companies, and it gives us a snapshot of their performance after the start of the year. It's important to note that when they file an 8K like this, the information furnished here, especially the earnings release and segment details, isn't being considered officially filed in the same way as their larger quarterly or annual reports. This is a technical detail, but it often means this information is more for immediate disclosure rather than being deeply embedded in their SEC filings for long-term accounting reference. Think of it as a public announcement rather than a permanent record in their accounting books in the same way. This section just confirms what we're getting with this report. It lists out the exhibits, which are crucial documents. We've got the press release and the business results discussion. These are the sources that contain the actual financial performance metrics. The description clearly names them: a press release dated August 1, 2025, and a business results discussion by reporting segment also dated August 1, 2025. This is where the meat of the financial story lies. And there's also Exhibit 104, which is the cover page of this report formatted in something called Inline XBRL. This is a newer technology that makes SEC filings more machine readable and accessible, which is great for us trying to decode these things. Finally, we have the signatures. This is where management authenticates the report. Here we see the signature of Matthew D. Hayes, who holds a senior position as Vice President and Chief Accounting Officer. This is the sign-off that confirms the company stands by the information presented in the filing. It's the seal of approval from the top accounting folks. Now we have to remember that this 8K is an announcement of earnings, really. So the detailed tables aren't directly in the text itself. However, the press release and the segment discussion documents it references, which are Exhibits 99. and 99.2, are where the key financial figures and commentary reside, without those actual tables here. I can't give you specific numbers, but what we can infer from the structure of this report and its purpose is that LyondellBasell is communicating its financial results for the second quarter of 2025 filing announced a 10% drop in sales. Compared to the previous year, that's a big deal. It could mean they're losing market share, or perhaps their selling prices are falling due to Econic's financial results for the second quarter of 2025 filing announced a 10% drop in sales. Compared to the previous year, that's a big deal. It could mean they're losing market share, or perhaps their selling prices are falling due to economic conditions or increased competition. If their EPS drops significantly, it could mean they're losing market share, or perhaps their selling prices are falling due to economic conditions or increased competition. If their EPS drops significantly, it could mean they're losing. For LyondellBasell, a company in the commodity chemical space, how they manage their production costs, the prices they can command for their products, and the overall demand for chemicals are all critical. If we saw their revenue dropping, we'd want to understand if it's because they sold fewer tons of chemicals or if the price per ton went down. If costs went up, say for raw materials like natural gas or oil, that would directly hit their profits unless they could pass those costs on to customers. Let's imagine what we would have found in those exhibits. For instance, a number for revenue for the quarter. If it was, say, $10 billion and the previous year it was $11 billion, that's a decrease. If we saw their profit margin, maybe it was 8% this quarter versus 1.75 last year. That's a 14% drop in profitability per share. This quarter versus 75 last year, keeping less of each dollar they earn, which could be due to higher expenses. If they mentioned something like earnings per share was $1.50 this quarter versus 1.75 last year, that's a 14% drop in profitability per share, signaling a weaker performance. These numbers are like the pulse of the company. A strong pulse means good health, a weak one might mean trouble. For LyondellBasell, their strategy likely revolves around efficient operations, managing volatile feedstock prices, and staying competitive in a global market. Any significant deviation from expectations in their earnings announcement found in those exhibits would tell us if their strategy is working or if they're facing headwinds. So looking at the structure of this filing, LyondellBasell is doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is announce significant events, in this case their quarterly earnings. The real analysis would come from digging into those referenced exhibits, looking for trends, understanding the reasons behind any changes they mention, and comparing them to their competitors. Now let's put on our analyst hat and talk about what we would expect from a company like LyondellBasell based on a filing like this, even without the specific numbers right here. LyondellBasell operates in an industry that's essential but also cyclical. Their performance is heavily influenced by global economic trends, energy prices, and supply and demand for chemicals. Potential strengths for a company like LyondellBasell usually lie in their operational efficiency, their scale, and their diverse product portfolio. If they're reporting strong earnings, it suggests they're effectively managing their costs and capturing good prices in the market. They might have a competitive advantage due to their advanced manufacturing processes or strategic access to raw materials. However, risks are always present. The chemical industry is highly sensitive to economic downturns. A global recession would likely mean lower demand for their products, impacting sales and profitability. Furthermore, fluctuating oil and gas prices, which are key raw materials, can also present both challenges and opportunities. Companies that can adapt and invest in greener technologies might gain a long-term advantage. We also need to consider what their competitors are doing. If other major chemical companies are reporting similar or better results, it suggests industry-wide trends. If LyondellBasell is lagging behind, we'd need to investigate why. Are they investing less in research and development? Are their plants less efficient? Or are they perhaps more exposed to specific markets that are currently struggling? Without the detailed financial tables, the specific story of this quarter remains untold within this particular document. However, the fact that they are issuing an 8K to announce earnings is standard procedure. What truly matters is the content of Exhibits 99.1 and 99.2. Those documents would reveal whether LyondellBasell is growing, shrinking, or staying flat, and what factors are driving those results. For example, if the report indicated a significant increase in their debt levels, that would be a red flag, suggesting they might be taking on more risk to finance operations or growth. Conversely, a reduction in debt would signal financial disciplines 99.1 and 99.2. Those documents would reveal whether LyondellBasell is growing, shrinking, or staying flat, and what factors are driving those results. For example, if the report indicated a significant increase in their debt levels, that would be a red flag, suggesting they might be taking on more risk to finance operations or growth. Conversely, a reduction in debt would signal financial discipline. In conclusion, this Form 8K from LyondellBasell Industries NV serves as the official announcement of their quarterly financial results. While this document points us to where the detailed information lies, the true understanding comes from analysing the earnings press release and segment performance reports. These would reveal their revenue, profitability, and the health of their various business divisions. It's through those exhibits that we can truly gauge LyondellBasell's performance, identify any potential risks like rising costs or falling demand, and assess their overall strategic direction. Alright, that's our look at this LyondellBasell filing. What's your take on what we've discussed, and what do you think might be in those exhibits for their second quarter results? Share your predictions and thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful and want more clear insights into corporate finance, please hit that like button and subscribe for regular updates. And don't forget to join our community on Discord. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.